Hi Team We Run, Coach Alexa here. I'm going to cover another drug on today's video, and I'm going to talk a little bit about ibuprofen, often sold as Nurofen, at least here in the UK. It is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, which means it kills pain, but one of the mechanisms through which it does that is by reducing inflammation. Because of that, it seems to be quite a popular option amongst runners for, post-run recovery if things are a little bit swollen or sore, injury recovery if you've gone over on your ankle and you want to reduce the inflammation. Some people even take it during races to reduce the pain feedback that they're getting from their body. So there is a lot of debate around the use of ibuprofen for these things. So I wanted to sort of cover a little bit about what's behind some of that debate. And, as always with these things, different chemicals and different drugs impact different people in different ways. So 3 key things just to be aware of when it comes to ibuprofen use specifically for running. I am not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to tell you about all the other potential things. If you've got a cold or whatever, then do what you want to do. But for running specifically, I guess there are sort of 3 potential parts to it. One of which is the use after a run for, I guess, sort of general post-run muscle soreness and just relieving the pain of that a little bit. Now again, there's some mixed evidence around this. What is more clear is that, I guess, kind of a schedule of taking ibuprofen. So if you're taking it every 4 or 6 hours or whatever it says on the packet, and doing it kind of as a bit of a program, maybe doing that for a few days, or doing that on a regular basis. So after most of your long runs, for example, or some of your runs in the week, then that has shown to have a bit of a disruptive effect to your recovery. So the inflammation, which non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen are trying to damp down, is actually a key part of our recovery process. It's what our body does as part of its healing and recovery process. So if you're also using the other example of if you've gone over on your ankle and it's swollen up like a big balloon, your body's doing that to heal it up. And actual taking sort of for a few days on that sort of schedule that they give you on the packet can inhibit the healing response somewhat. So, if there are other options that you have, if you really are in that much pain that you feel you need to take something to reduce it, then, other options like paracetamol generally have lower risk, although you do, with paracetamol, have to be very careful not to take more than the stated dose on the packet. Otherwise, it causes liver problems. All of these things come with side effects, you see, this is the problem. In terms of taking it during runs to reduce that feedback from the body, maybe reduce effort perception perhaps, who knows. Again, there's a bit of mixed advice. I think most sort of sports doctors that are maybe out on course at, for example, a marathon or ultra, would advise against it. And the key reason for that is that ibuprofen works your kidneys quite hard. Like any drug, your body has to work in the background to break it down into its component parts and excrete it from your system. And ibuprofen is particularly hard on the kidneys. The kidneys are also working pretty hard when you're running, particularly longer events, and particularly on hotter days when your dehydration is likely to be, levels of dehydration are likely to be higher, because your kidneys are already then in a more stressed state. So again, not something that a lot of people would recommend, but as I say, all down to personal choice as long as you know the pros and the cons. I'll give you a little bit of a case study to finish off with. A runner of mine who we'd been training for a longer distance, so mountain and trail ultra, and the day that it was held on was, the weeks prior to the event were horribly rainy, so the underfoot conditions were horrendous. A lot of it wasn't runnable, really big sort of bogs and mud and lots of slipping and sliding and landslides over the path. It was in a mountainous region. It was pretty horrendous, to be honest. I'm impressed that she finished. And also very, very hot. day. She also, unfortunately, on one of these sort of slippy descents, went over on her ankle. So when she got back from the end of the race, she put herself on pretty much the maximum dose on the packet of ibuprofen for the next 2 or 3 days. And I think it was a combination of all of these factors, right? Long distance, really hot, so she was probably quite dehydrated. The kidneys had been working quite hard. She'd gone over on her ankle. She had the DOMS from the conditions on the course being so tough. But unfortunately, what happened was she didn't particularly get any relief from the ibuprofen. It didn't feel like it was making an effect, but what it was doing was making her really nauseous. What that meant is that she wasn't wanting to eat very much, and because she wasn't eating very much, her body just didn't have the nutrients available to help start the recovery process, both of her twisted ankle and of the rest of her having completed an ultra. And it is one of the side effects on the back of the packet, if you read all the delicious small print on these drugs, that ibuprofen is quite hard on your stomach. So if you take it to the schedule on the packet every few hours, maximum dose of 24 hours, it can often leave you feeling a little bit indigestion-y or nauseous as well. So on balance, she would have been better off not bothering with it, allowing her to rehydrate more quickly, get food into her more quickly, get those nutrients and the protein, the vitamin, minerals into her from the food. She'd probably felt better much quicker if she'd done that as opposed to taking the ibuprofen. So some food for thought there. Everyone makes their own decisions, but just a little bit of an overview about some of the thoughts that float around about it. Happy running.